That's so amazing. So in that sense, you have had like a role training others, right? So do you think
Yes,
there's
yes.
like a tendency, like we can say this is the standard now?
No, I wish
Not
it
yet.
was. Not yet, but it's getting much closer than it used to be. It is getting much closer than it used to be. Sometimes people will want immediate results, and I understand that. And there's many ways to get immediate results. And in one of my books, I use an example of a teacher and a child. I raised 4 boys, and so I know how boys are. And they're all now wonderful adults. But if I'm a teacher and I have a young boy in a classroom who continues to act up. So he's showing behavior that's not acceptable in that situation. He's disrupting the class, might be impacting my quality of life as a teacher. I need that child to sit quietly and to listen so that he can learn and so everyone can learn. There's a multitude of ways I can address that problem. One of those ways is I can come in and I can stare at him and I can shout at him and maybe I'll shake him by the shoulders and he might sit down and be quiet, but maybe he won't. So what happens if he doesn't? Do I shake him harder? Do I hit him? Do I have someone else come in and take care of him? Again, he may sit down and be quiet, but for how long? And has he learned, or is he behaving that way because he's afraid? And if he's afraid, what's he going to do when he's outside of that classroom? What is he going to do when he just cannot take anymore? And he may, get mad and start yelling at me. I compare that to some types of dog training that want immediate results. I can subdue your dog. I have worked with dogs of all sizes. I have owned dogs of all sizes, and I'm pretty confident in my physical ability to be able to handle a dog. I used to walk 2 of my dogs that equaled about 240 pounds together on a leash. I could hold those dogs still if I needed to. So if you said, this dog is not acting this way, I can come in and I can manhandle that dog. I can hold the dog. I can push him to the ground. I can squeeze him until he stops that behavior. It doesn't mean he has learned anything. And I will not blame that dog if he jumps up and bites me because I've scared him to death. So sometimes in the need to get immediate results, we may revert to methods that are not the best for the person or for the animal, because I'll tell you, I've worked with many people who have gone through many types of training before they called me, and people who have trained their dogs that way they don't feel good about it, and they are not happy about it, and many of them feel guilty about it. And I always tell them that we're going to forget about what happened in the past. We're going to talk about today forward. So if you've trained your dog that way and you don't feel good about it, you need to forgive yourself, ask your dog to forgive you. Today is a new day, and we'll go forward and we'll find a new way to get the results that you want. And hopefully we can do that. Hopefully we can impact the dog's behavior enough to live a good quality of life for the dog and for the people that they live with.
So if you had to say, let's say, 3 things that people really need to address before bringing a puppy to their home, what would you say?
Yes. You are going to restrict that dog's freedom. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to set up your home so that the dog has controlled space? So you're going to decide, where's the dog going to sleep? Where is the dog going to eat? It may be a crate. It may be an exercise pen. It may be a room behind a gate. Where is that dog going to live? What is the dog's schedule going to be? Because guess what? Baby puppies wake up during the night and have to go to the bathroom, just like baby humans. So I tell people, be prepared. You're going to set your alarm so that you can get up during the night and take the puppy outside. Where's the puppy going to go to the bathroom? Do you live in a home? Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in the city? Do you live in the country? Where's the dog going to go to the bathroom? And what are the supplies that you need? You need things to clean up messes, because they will happen. And then I also like to tell people to invest in, there's certain enzyme sprays. If a dog has a potty accident, you clean the area. There's also different products that are deterrents to chewing. I've gone through a lot of that. You spray it on where you don't want the dog to chew. So you're going to do those things. How are you going to make the puppy feel comfortable away from their mother and away from their siblings? What equipment? And then what kind of things are you going to have the dog to chew on because they're teething? So it's not just a matter of they have to have toys. They're a teething puppy and they need to chew to teeth. So what kind of things are you going to have? So those are the kind of things I tell people to think of before they bring the puppy home. And then I tell them, who's your veterinarian going to be? Because sometimes they don't think about that. And where are you going to take your puppy for puppy training? So let's get that set up as well, because that's going to be important to think about. And it's going to be fun. I reassure them it's a lot of work. It's going to be fun. Everyone who gets a new puppy says, this puppy will never be housebroken, but they will. Or they say, I shouldn't have gotten the puppy, but in the end, you'll be glad that you did. So those things always happen.
Those are great, ideas or steps to, consider for people, bringing a new puppy. And I was wondering, what are your thoughts regarding the dog breeds? Because people picture themselves with, I don't know, I like this, border collie because I see myself running, la la la. But then there's a whole situation.
Any work that I have done, I'm standing on the shoulders of those who taught me and who came before me. And one of my favorite people is Nicole Wilde. She's a wonderful dog behaviorist and who's written many, many books. And I was lucky enough to see her speak. And she said, something that a dog breed will tell you is, what will the dog look like and how big will they be? And that's about it. So when you're thinking of a breed, and that's a generalization because of course we know there are different things that go along with breeds. So I ask people not to think about the breed. Think about, what do you want in a dog? What is your activity level? Do you want a dog who can go outside and run with you? Do you want a dog that's a couch potato? How much grooming do you want to do? Do you want a dog that needs to be brushed every day? Do you want a dog that needs to go to a professional groomer? And how big do you want the dog to be? What size of a dog do you want? Those are the kind of the things that I ask. And that starts people thinking. And I will use the example of my own dog who's lying here by my feet, who's a golden retriever. My dogs in the past have been boxers, Great Danes. We have had a couple pit bull mixes in there, muscle dogs with short hair. That's kind of my dog. How did I end up with a golden retriever? And every day when I'm sweeping up all the hair that he lost, I ask myself that. But what I wanted before I got the dog, I wanted a dog because I had multiple dogs who had behavior concerns. I wanted a dog that I could take anywhere, that would tend to love people, that would like other dogs, that liked children. I wanted a dog who was sweet and friendly. That's where I started. I wanted a dog who I could meet the mother and dad of that dog. So that meant getting a dog from a breeder. And I wanted a dog within a certain driving distance from my house. That's where I started. I did not look at the breed. And when I went through that list, I found a breeder who had both parents, who was 5 hours from my house. The parents were both certified therapy dogs. So that was the temperament I wanted. And then it was a golden retriever. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm looking at golden retrievers. So I picked the type of dog before I picked the breed of the dog. And that's how I ended up with a golden retriever. So that's what I ask people to think about. The other thing I see is that people will have a favorite breed. And I actually helped rehome a Doberman Pinscher to a wonderful new home that fit the dog perfectly, because the people had a lovely Doberman that lived to be 12 years old. And when that dog died, they wanted another Doberman because their Doberman had been the best dog in the world. So they got another Doberman. Well, what they were remembering was their 12-year-old Doberman. They had forgotten the puppy of 12 years ago and what puppies are like. And you can take 10 Doberman Pinschers and have 10 different personalities. And it just was not the right dog for their home. But we found a wonderful home for that dog. So, if you think about dogs who have jobs, important jobs like seeing eye dogs, military dogs, police dogs, you may have a litter of dogs and only one puppy will be able to do that job. And that should tell you that you can have a big variation within a breed. So, there are breeds that I warn against for the average owner. Most people do not need to own a border collie. Most people should not own a Malinois. Those are high-level working dogs, and they need specific types of owners. But beyond that, it's about the dog, not so much as the breed. So as Nicole said, it tells you what they look like, tells you how big they're going to be, but doesn't tell you everything about the dog.